Dr. Eggman has returned with the mission of finding the Master Emerald, and now Sonic must use his supreme evolution to defeat one of his greatest enemies. Today, we're going to recap the story of the movie Sonic 2 from 2022. After spending 243 days alone on the Mushroom Planet, Dr. Eggman, also known as Robotnik, finally manages to finish creating his new machine that will take him back home. However, when he turns it on, he realizes that his plans haven't gone as expected, as a huge energy explosion occurs. A few hours later, a portal opens and the Doctor, who was passed out, is found by a group of soldiers. When one of those men approaches to steal Sonic's Thorn, Eggman suddenly wakes up and activates his traps to eliminate the invaders. After defeating them all, the villain bids farewell to the Mushroom Planet and runs toward the portal. However, just as he's about to go through it, he comes across Knuckles. Seeing the blue thorn, the creature asks where Robotnik found it, and he says he will guide the animal to a planet called Earth. That night in Seattle, a group of bank robbers are on the run from the police after carrying out their latest heist. When he sees the group trying to escape, Sonic prepares to take action and runs to the truck. After knocking out the driver, the blue hedgehog takes control of the vehicle and maneuvers to stop the rest of the criminals in the back of the truck. In doing so, all the money that was stored in the vehicle begins to spill out onto the streets. Sonic realizes that there is a civilian trapped in the back of the vehicle. Along with it are numerous bombs. Suddenly, bombs ignite and are about to explode. At that moment, Sonic tries to stop the vehicle, but discovers that the brakes aren't working. His only option is to throw the bombs into the back of a garbage truck, ensuring no one gets hurt by the explosion. As his vehicle approaches an ice cream truck, Sonic grabs a screwdriver and, using his super speed, dismantles the car, managing to avoid the collision and helping the police catch the bandits. The next morning, after another heroic deed, Sonic returns to the small town of Green Hills and heads home to take a nap in his room. However, Ozzy and Maddie show up, interrupting his rest. Maddie reminds him that Sonic has a fishing trip scheduled with Tom. During the boat trip, Sonic falls asleep and ends up in the water. Unable to swim, he panics and calls for Tom's help to get back into the boat. Tom then reveals that he checked Sonic's room the previous night and noticed he wasn't there. Realizing Sonic had snuck out again to play superhero, Tom tells him he can't keep doing that. Not only does it risk exposing his identity, but Sonic's actions often leave a trail of chaos, putting people's lives in danger. Hearing this, Sonic feels discouraged, as his biggest dream has always been to become a superhero. Tom reassures him, explaining that he's still too young and needs to wait for the right time to start using his powers to save the world. That weekend, Maddie and Tom head to Hawaii for Rachel's wedding. Instead of flying, they ask for Sonic's help to create an interdimensional portal that will take them straight to their destination. After saying goodbye, Sonic gives Tom a ring, explaining it can be used to bring them back home. For the first time, Sonic will be home alone for 48 hours, and he decides to use the time to indulge in all the mischief he's always dreamed of. That afternoon, Tails arrives in the woods through a portal, having used a tracker to find Sonic's location. At dusk, while the hedgehog is choosing a movie to watch with Ozzy, all the lights in the house suddenly go out, and they hear a frightening noise coming from outside. Slowly, Sonic approaches the door and sees the handle being destroyed. As the door opens, he sees Eggman and immediately tells him that coming there was a big mistake. Attempting to provoke Sonic, Robotnik threatens that he will make the hedgehog's entire family suffer. Enraged by this, Sonic becomes furious. Just as he prepares to attack, Knuckles appears and punches him. After being struck a second time, Sonic decides to roll into Knuckles at high speed, but Knuckles manages to stop him with his fists. Knuckles then captures Sonic and claims that he's there to finish what his ancestors couldn't, to restore the power stolen from his tribe, the Echidnas. Just as Sonic is about to be eliminated, a police car approaches and runs over Knuckles. Soon after, Tails arrives and urges Sonic to get into the vehicle so they can escape. Infuriated, Knuckles decides to chase them. During the escape, Tails takes the opportunity to introduce himself. The fox explains that it's an honor to finally meet the blue hedgehog and reveals that Knuckles is the most dangerous warrior in the galaxy. According to Tails, Knuckles' mission is to obtain the Master Emerald, and the Echidna is convinced that Sonic is the key to finding it. After nearly being crushed by a truck, Sonic and Tails believe they've lost their pursuer. However, Knuckles manages to catch up with the car. In an attempt to get rid of him, Tails drives the vehicle off a cliff. As they plummet, Tails uses his twin tails to fly, saving Sonic in the process. Knuckles also manages to escape from the vehicle before it explodes. Watching his targets escape, Robotnik decides to recruit a new ally. He contacts Agent Stone, who is overjoyed to learn that his master has returned. Immediately, Stone sends a spaceship to meet Dr. Eggman, and when it arrives on Earth, it transforms into a ship that unleashes countless machines at Robotnik's command. Seeing Knuckles about to reach the top, Robotnik strikes a new deal with him, promising to help the Echidna find the Master Emerald if he agrees to use it to destroy Sonic. Later that night, after narrowly escaping, Sonic takes Tails to Wade's house. He asks for Wade's help to figure out why Knuckles believes Sonic is the key to finding the Emerald. While examining drawings on a map left by his late friend, Sonic stumbles upon a hologram of Garalonga. The hologram was created to deliver a message. According to the owl, the Master Emerald is hidden on Earth and possesses the power to turn thoughts into reality. Sonic is warned that he must protect the jewel, for if it falls into the wrong hands, the entire universe will be in danger. After receiving Garalonga's message, the Hedgehog picks up the map and realizes that he must go to Siberia to find the compass that will lead him to the Emerald. Upon arriving, Sonic and Tails are caught by a snowstorm, so they decide to take shelter in the first wooden tent they find along the way, which turns out to be a restaurant. While waiting for their orders, Tails reveals that he came to Earth to warn Sonic that Robotnik has escaped from exile and is after him. Minutes later, when their food arrives, Tails complains that his order was wrong. This leads to both him and Sonic being unmasked by the other customers. Upon realizing that these creatures are not human, the group decides to throw the monsters into the fire. However, they reconsider when the Fox suggests resolving the conflict in a different way, following Siberian customs. Immediately, the customers move their tables aside for a dance contest to take place. Seeing that they are up against professional dancers, Sonic asks Tails to help him. Tails creates countless clones of himself, dazzling the customers with his performance. This way, the pair manage to win the contest and befriend the restaurant's patrons. Hours later, after everyone has left, Sonic and Tails decide to spend the night in the establishment to rest, planning to continue their mission the next morning. At dawn, the pair fly over the snowy Siberian mountains and locate the cave described on the map. Upon entering, they come across a gigantic gate, and Tails translates the inscription. It tells the story of fearless warriors, known as Echidnas, who fused the 7 Chaos Emeralds long ago to create the Master Emerald, the most unbeatable weapon of all time. With it, a single warrior could defeat entire armies. However, a group of owls, believing that no one should possess such power, banded together to take the emerald and swore to protect it, ensuring it would never fall into the wrong hands. After passing through the gate, Sonic finds a gigantic statue and changes the sequence of symbols to activate the owl mechanism. In doing so, he obtains the compass, but soon discovers that he's been followed by Eggman. Eggman sends his robots to surround them, then appears in his flying convertible and fires a missile at Sonic. However, Sonic reacts in time and redirects the missile towards Knuckles. As the statue is destroyed, the cave begins to collapse. Sonic and Tails use the opportunity to escape. In an attempt to lose the robots, the Hedgehog and the Fox get separated. While skiing down the snowy mountain, Sonic throws snowballs at the robots, causing them to blow each other up. Suddenly, Knuckles appears and steals the compass, striking his opponent while they slip in the snow. Sonic is nearly knocked off a cliff and ends up dropping his rings. Realizing he's trapped, the Hedgehog hands the compass to Tails and urges him to run far away. However, Robotnik shows up just in time and manages to seize the artifact. He then launches a missile attack at Tails and escapes. Seeing his friend lying unconscious, Sonic rushes to help him, while Knuckles leaves with Dr. Eggman. Knuckles is surprised by Sonic's actions, as he didn't expect him to prioritize helping the Fox over retrieving the compass. Moments later, a huge avalanche begins to tumble down the mountains. Sonic grabs Tails and tries to escape the incoming snow. Having lost all his rings, Sonic calls Tom and asks him to use his ring to save them. The problem is that Tom and Maddie are in the middle of Rachel's wedding. When the portal opens, the entire wedding party is buried under a massive pile of snow. As Sonic tries to wake up Tails, he is captured by a power grid, and Rachel discovers that both Randall and all his wedding guests are federal agents. Furious to learn that her fiancé orchestrated a fake wedding to capture Sonic, Rachel is livid. Meanwhile, Tom confronts the agents who are holding Sonic and Tails, but Randall manages to subdue him and takes him to his room. Maddie, meanwhile, tries to understand what's happening. Commander Walters explains that after the events in San Francisco, the FBI created a global task force to protect the planet from alien threats. Maddie informs him that Robotnik is back and accuses him of making a grave mistake by arresting the only ones capable of stopping him. When Walters leaves, Maddie and Rachel team up to infiltrate the hotel. Using an anti-gravity device, they send one of the agents into space, which allows them to break into the building. Maddie sets out to rescue Tom, while Rachel seeks revenge on her fiancé for tricking her. Maddie successfully breaks into the room where Tom and Sonic are being held and frees them. Unbeknownst to them, Robotnik and Knuckles have just discovered the true location of the Master Emerald. Suddenly, Sonic sees a massive beam of light shooting out from the ocean and realizes Robotnik has found the jewel. Determined to protect his friends, Sonic decides to face Dr. Eggman alone. Tails wakes up and tries to follow him but is too weak to fly. He warns that Sonic will need help as he won't be able to defeat Knuckles by himself. Immediately, Tom goes after Commander Walters and asks if he will help stop Robotnik from destroying the planet. Meanwhile, in Green Hills, Wade takes a coffee break and realizes his favorite coffee shop is closed. Curious, he decides to snoop through the window and finds Stone working on Dr. Eggman's plans. When Wade discovers that the coffee shop owner is an ally of the supervillain who almost destroyed the Earth, he decides to take action and arrest him. To reach the place where the streak of light is coming from, Sonic must cross the ocean. Although he's afraid of drowning, he runs at high speed across the water, but is struck by a huge wave. Fortunately, after fainting, the hedgehog is carried to shore by the current. He is surprised to discover that the Master Emerald is hidden in an underwater temple. Meanwhile, Robotnik and Knuckles attempt to navigate the various traps within the labyrinth, protecting the jewel, and barely manage to make it halfway unscathed. Upon entering the temple, Sonic quickly realizes the place is filled with traps, so he uses his speed to survive them all. When he finally reaches his destination, Dr. Eggman finds the Master Emerald and tries to eliminate Knuckles to seize the jewel. However, before Robotnik can eliminate his ally, Sonic bursts through the ceiling and into the main hall. Sonic rushes to grab the emerald before his enemies, but Knuckles catches up. During their duel, Sonic is hit and thrown into a waterfall. After defeating Sonic, Knuckles climbs the stairs to claim the emerald, but Sonic returns to continue the battle. Sonic uses his spiky body to bury Knuckles in the ground. Knuckles soon recovers and throws punches at Sonic, who dodges them quickly. While they fight, Robotnik takes the opportunity to steal the emerald. Furious at Robotnik's betrayal, Knuckles feels deceived by someone he considered a friend. After mocking Knuckles' naivety, Dr. Eggman flees with the emerald. With the jewel removed, the temple begins to collapse and is submerged in seawater. While trying to escape, Sonic notices Knuckles is trapped under the rubble and dives in to save him. Though Sonic can't swim, he uses a rock to reach the bottom and frees Knuckles. Knuckles swims to the surface to breathe, but Sonic, unable to keep up, starts to drown. Seeing this, Knuckles returns and helps Sonic to the beach. When asked why he risked his life to save an enemy, Sonic explains that's what heroes do and reveals that his main goal is to help people. Tails then arrives to rescue Sonic, and Sonic asks Knuckles for help recovering the emerald, as they have a better chance if they work together. Meanwhile, as Wade interrogates Agent Stone, Dr. Eggman appears to free his ally. After stealing the emerald, Robotnik begins acting strangely. When he sees Commander Walters and his army approaching, the villain prepares for a showdown. Effortlessly, Dr. Eggman destroys a battle tank and creates a hurricane to obliterate the agent's vehicles. A passing train is dragged off the tracks and into the cyclone. Witnessing the destruction, Maddie and Tom realize that Robotnik is dismantling everything around him to build something even bigger. Suddenly, Sonic and his team teleport to Green Hills and confront the giant robot Eggman has built. In a bid to stop Eggman from destroying the city, Sonic tries to distract him, but the plane he's on is bombarded by hundreds of missiles. Fortunately, Tails dodges the attack, and the missiles explode in the mountains, away from the townspeople. Relieved, Sonic gets momentarily distracted and is struck by a final missile. Meanwhile, Knuckles charges at the robot and punches its hand. At the same time, Tails approaches and fires at the giant robot, but his aircraft is crushed, forcing him to fly away using his tails to avoid a fatal crash. The battle seems won when Sonic reappears, riding the missile that hit him, and sends it back toward Robotnik. Realizing their individual attacks aren't enough to defeat Dr. Eggman, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles combine their powers to destroy the smaller robots attacking them and move closer to their main target. Sonic lures Robotnik into the forest, while Tails and Knuckles fly to the robot's head, searching for a way to disable it. During his escape, Sonic narrowly dodges laser beams, but is eventually hit while crossing a bridge and buried under rubble from a massive fall. At this point, Tails breaks into the robot's core and uses his clones to confuse Robotnik. However, he is struck by Robotnik's laser beams. Just as the villain was about to eliminate him, he realized that the fox was merely a distraction. Knuckles was ready to deliver a punch, causing the emerald to be expelled from Eggman's body. As a result, the Supreme Robot was deactivated and fell into the ashes of the forest. Seeing the jewel a few meters away, Sonic tried to reach it but was seriously injured from the fall and could barely walk. Meanwhile, Robotnik managed to restart the robot and was about to crush the hedgehog when Maddie and Tom came to the rescue. To prevent them from escaping, the villain struck the ground, causing an earthquake that overturned their truck. At this point, the Master Emerald was Sonic's only hope, but suddenly, the stone began to lose its shine and crumbled in the hedgehog's hands. After surrounding his victims in a circle of fire, Robotnik prepared to trample them. Just then, the 7 Chaos Emeralds fused with Sonic's body, granting him the power needed to protect his family. Piercing the robot's foot with his body, Sonic ripped the machine's head off. Robotnik, desperate for one last attack, tried to hit Sonic, who managed to parry the blow and destroy the robot's fist. Sonic then used his body as a projectile to destroy the machine, and once again, Robotnik was defeated. After completing his mission, Sonic used the power of the emerald to materialize a hot dog and then removed the jewels from his body. Relieved to have their hedgehog back, Maddie and Tom ran to hug him and invited Tails to join their family. After smelting the 7 stones, Knuckles finally took possession of the Master Emerald, but decided to give it up. No longer driven by revenge, his real goal was to stand by his new friends so they could use their powers to protect the universe. That day, Knuckles and Tails became new members of the Wachowski family and learned to have fun with humans. After participating in a baseball game, the family went for ice cream, and Sonic took the Master Emerald with them in the car. Meanwhile, in the Green Hills Forest, the commander and his agents continued their search for Robotnik, who had vanished after the battle with the hedgehog. Believing that no one could survive such a fall, Walters concluded that Dr. Eggman was eliminated and was informed about a file lost in the FBI system over 50 years ago. This file contained the coordinates for a secret research facility where the Shadow Project experiments were conducted. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.